When I first approached you with this whole idea of Club 27 and us doing an event here, we had talked about mental health and depression and suicide, and certainly in the current zeitgeist and the current atmosphere, these have really come to the forefront during the pandemic. And some of what you shared maybe today about the artists and what they're going through these very hard times. Is there any one of the members of Club 27, that is artists who have passed away, 27, that has significantly contributed to the world, be it Jimi Hendrix or Jim Moore? Is there anyone in particular that has really impacted you in your life?
I would say Janis Joplin.
Oh, really?
Janis was somebody that my dad listened to, probably still listens to. As I've listened to her stuff and really saw some of the documentaries on what she went through and her struggles and how she persevered and just pushed through, and it really kind of resonated with me just to see somebody go through that and the immense sadness that was within her, but the great work that she created because of that. And I have to respect that. And I think that's the same for a lot of Club 27.
Jeffrey, thank you very much for inviting me to your gallery today. The DC Zone is very happy to be visiting this beautiful gallery. Can you tell me a little bit about the name of the gallery?
The gallery is called Alpha Voyage Gallery. It's really about the voyage that art is supposed to take you on. And I really wanted to focus on that journey that you can go on with artwork. So I'm trying to remind people, art is not just something you put on your wall, it's something that makes you think. Music is art. It helps you go on a journey. Movies are art. They take you on a journey.
So I hope Club 27 is the beginning of us working and doing some great things in Vegas. It certainly is a very exciting project in a monumental time in human history with this whole COVID crisis occurring. How or what do you want to be the, I guess I don't want to say the main message but the new drive of your gallery during this whole crisis?
I want to look to artists for a way to navigate these uncharted territories that we're in. I'm looking for the hope.
Yes.
Science can create answers, it can create questions. It's not so good at creating hope. That's where we need the artists. Right. And I have seen a trend away from art and artists and thinking.
Yes.
And people thinking for themselves.
We'd spoken about that, yeah.
Yeah, and a lack of critical thinking, and I think the art is a major influence in that, in causing people to think. When you're looking at art, it causes you to think if you allow it. It can help you think about what could be, what is right now. Maybe I'm not seeing something right now because I'm so focused on one thing. We need artists to say, wait a minute, there's a whole nother world you're not even thinking about or looking at.
Well, that sentiment of hope, I can tell you from, even me personally, coming into your gallery and spending time in here, definitely is present. It's a way of life for you. Have you always been like that? It's amazing.
I don't know. I never really stopped to think about that.
Okay, you never stopped to think, yeah.
But it may very well be on some level. I would say it's probably gotten better over time because I am challenging myself. I'm trying to learn things. I'm trying to improve. I'm trying to affect the easiest thing to affect in this world, and that's me.
Right.
Speaking of the mood that you're in here, I had the fortune of having some visitors 2 nights ago now, and it was interesting to hear how things came about, because that friend was kind of like run down. He was leaving town the next day. He had some meetings in the morning. They'd had a really late night the night before. He was like, and he even said, he's like, I was really not intent on coming here. I was like, I just need to go home and rest and to my hotel room and rest. And something about the way they described your place said, you know what? No, I need to go to this place. And after 2 minutes, I could tell he was kind of like, he just wasn't really here.
Right.
He was just kind of like, waiting to see it, but he was just kind of ready to just be like, okay, I saw it, I'm ready to go. And we came into this room, and his friends had said, if you have any Grateful Dead, play some Grateful Dead for this guy. Within 30 seconds, with a combination of the lights and the music, he went from just drained to smiling from ear to ear.
Wow.
And he was interacting. He's like, do you have this song? Can we hear this?
Right.
And as he was leaving, he was like, I just want to thank you so much for opening the gallery up for me tonight.
Yeah.
Because I was drained. I was done. And now I'm reinvigorated. So I that made me happy.
Yeah. I can speak to that because the day I came in, the first time I came into your gallery, and you played for me some Leonard Cohen later on, that really invigorated me. So I think that's real testament to the experience and the uniqueness that you create in here with the lights, the music, and the ambience. It's beautiful, you know. To give this all some context, because of the whole COVID and pandemic crisis, how has that impacted your gallery and your work and you personally as a gallerist?
It's been a challenge, as it has been for everyone. It's very difficult on the artists. Artists are a unique breed, and this has really affected them, not just monetarily. I mean, that's a no-brainer. But,
it's a given, yeah.
But this isolation, this lack of ability to go out to interact with people, or to be able to go to someplace that makes them happy. Artists, for whatever reason, are so in touch with their emotion, I find, that it's supercharged. And I've seen how this isolation has really just wrenched on their ability to want to live. And it's kind of scary. Fortunately, most of them have found a way to work with that, to get the interaction they need to be able to create art. A lot of them really pour themselves into their art, and it sounds like a good thing, but when you're just at that level all the time and you don't have that break, you get so fatigued.
I can tell you from dealing with a lot of gallerists, it's a very unique symbiotic relationship that you have with the artist. And when you talk to the artists, they're extremely appreciative to that relationship and to the opportunity to be able to feel, and even by walking around your gallery, that comes across. There's a certain symbiotic safety that you have. Is that something endemic to your personality, or is that just the way you do business? Or?
Well, that's the way I do business. I have that same respect with any client that I have that I'm doing technology with. I was very fortunate to work with a great man in Detroit named Navote, who taught me a lot about the right way to do business. I make sure that every opportunity I'm involved with is beneficial for both me and the person or people that are part of that opportunity.
What's really interesting is that you really do foster a connection and a motivation on local Vegas-based artists.
An important part of the artwork is the artist.
Right.
And focusing on local artists helps me connect to the artist with the person that's collecting. So it's a lot easier for me to bring a local artist in and let my clients interact with the artist in a way that's meaningful for everyone. The artists appreciate it. I don't think people understand how important good feedback is to an artist. They really light up when they're talking to somebody about their piece, when they feel a genuine appreciation for their piece. It's almost better than money. There are so many underrepresented artists locally.
Yes.
That I got everything I need right here.
Do you think that the city of Las Vegas, the artists in Las Vegas, the collectors in Las Vegas, do you think that they can bring something new to this project?
I think they can. I think there are a couple of artists that I deal with that deal with mediums that I haven't seen anywhere else. I'm really thankful for you for this opportunity to give a challenge to some artists, to give them a task and see what new and unique way they come up with to approach it. Because we always come up with, it's amazing to me how many times I'm like, okay, here's the thing I'm going to challenge them with, and I expect this or this, and they'll come up with something that's back here. I'm like, oh, I didn't even think about that, but oh my God, that's like a whole different way to look at things.
Right. How do you select the art?
I meet with all of the artists. I listen to what they're telling me, what their motivation is, why they're creating art. I try to find artists, and I've been successful so far,
yes,
that need to create art. If you said you'll never get paid for this a dime in your life, and you'll have to work 60 hours a week to be able to support the art that you're creating, I believe that every artist I represent would still create art.
Yes. Because
it's endemic and it's part of them. It's something they have to do. And you can't teach that. And that sort of genuine approach to art means that they're going to create amazing pieces. Every time I've been like, I'm not quite sure I understand that piece or I get it. As I'm finding the place to put it in the gallery, everything kind of comes together. I find that place where I'm like, oh my God, it makes sense there. It needed context of the room or the height or the lighting. Lighting is very important. And
yes,
I find myself getting lost in those pieces. Some of those pieces I didn't instantly connect with are some of my most favorite pieces. Sometimes you have to spend 10 minutes with a piece alone, just focused on that piece to really get it. I know who this artist is. I know this artist is creating great things. Even if I don't immediately get this, I'm going to give it a chance in here.
So as you know, I've kind of moved half the time I'm in Vegas, half the time I'm in LA. And there is such a diverse, sophisticated collector out here and sophisticated gallerists like you. How come over the years and maybe presently, and I know it's changing, but there is sort of a marred vision of the art and photographic scene in Las Vegas? Is there a reason for that?
Part of it is the image that is Las Vegas that you're competing with. Most people, I was shocked when I moved here to really learn how small town America Las Vegas actually is. It's kind of a weird mix of everything. It's the big city. You've got that big city vibe, you've got that big city sophistication, but the people act more like this is a small town of like 1,000 people. And so it's this weird mix of all of this stuff that comes together. And I think it creates this atmosphere that allows people to be who they are, what they want to do with their life. It's almost like this lack of judgment allows that sophisticated collector to be here and be true to themselves and really find artists and art that they like and appreciate, and find the other important thing is they find other people that like the same things.
Yes, I've seen that. Yeah.
So it's I think this term is used a little too much all over the world, but melting pot. This is truly a melting pot of everything throughout America. And you got, I think part of where the confusion comes in is the transient nature of a lot of people in Las Vegas. It's really hard to establish a business in Las Vegas because everyone believes that you're going to be out of business within 6 months. It forces you to be better in a way, because you can't just set something up and hope people are going to want to be part of it.
Yes.
They have to see that you're really committed, that you're not just here to use gambling terms, to hit it big at the table,
right,
and head out or cash in on them.
Yes.
They can see through a lot of bullshit.
Yes, they can. Yeah.
The people here challenge you to be better. You have to be genuine to really be accepted here.
That's completely true. That's the key, because I know from going to and fro from LA to Vegas, I can see how when you get to Vegas, you have to do hard work. Out here, if you want to do something that is monumental or real worth, you have to be genuine.
Yeah.
Do you think that's because it's Las Vegas, or do you think that's because we're in it? It's a totally different culture out here.
It's a culture of people that are always expecting something not genuine. The advertising about how it's Sin City and it's got these roots in deception and in corruption and stuff like that. So people are hyper vigilant about it. And so they're very aware when somebody is not being genuine. And it's almost like it's a survival skill that you have to really do well here.
Yes. And I think when you've dealt with art globally, and you have dealt with a lot of institutional, the institutional art machine, the big galleries, you realize that out here, that's just a bunch of BS. Out here, you have to really believe in your artist and really be genuine and work hard for that artist, Do you think that the Club 27 project, the idea of helping artists through art, is relevant at this current time?
I think it is one of the most relevant things that we're not aware of.
Was there something in your past or in your life that allowed you to have this very diverse multimedia experience of art and photography, or is this something that you developed yourself?
Being in luxury homes, you realize that art is a very important thing to people that have wealth, because they understand how helpful it is, how important it is in a luxury home. It's just one of those things that as I was walking around, it just rubbed off onto me. Like, art is that important, and there's a reason for it. It's nice to see art on your phone or on your computer. It's nice to do these virtual tours of the Van Gogh Museum, but it's so much different when you actually go there and experience the art.
Yes.
And that's one of the things that I wanted to really allow people to do. And I wanted to make sure that this gallery was set up in a way that people felt comfortable coming in to experience art.
I had done a interview and show with an artist in Sweden, and she said to me that the way she marks her year out is she's working towards her next exhibition.
Yeah.
So in not having that exhibition, she recently emailed me and she said she's in a terrible state because she has nothing to look forward to.
Yeah.
She has her art, but she doesn't want to put it up online. She wants to interact with people. Has that affected your gallery as well in terms of traffic and?
Yeah, I mean, we were doing really well before the whole virus took hold, and overnight it stopped. People coming in, it stopped. Anyone visiting, even artists.
Really?
I couldn't. It was just, and it's starting to come back, but it seems like every time there's just a little bit of let's go back out into the world, there's a new news story that talks about how everything's falling apart again, and, and it just shuts everything down again, and it's hard to plan for events. It's very easy to fall into the trap of using the virus as an excuse to do nothing. Anytime I say I'm not doing it because of COVID, try and think about why am I really not doing it? What harm comes if I put together an exhibition,
Right.
put it online? And so I've looked at the positives. I'm a business owner, so I weigh that with the expenses, but I've adjusted how we do things, and I've tried to give artists a reason to create. That's how most of the artists work. Mm-hmm. They believe in people.
Yeah.
Even when there's evidence to the contrary, they still
Yes.
want to believe in people.
Yes.
And that's what I love.
Yes.
That's the perspective that I need to challenge myself with.
Yes.
Because being in business, you can't always have that
Yeah.
sort of outlook.
Yeah. So it's getting out of the box.
It's getting out of the conventional thought and
Right.
trying to decide what's important to you. What do you like about that piece? And sometimes there are pieces that I absolutely hate initially, until I have time to sit down and say, why do I hate that piece? Anytime art elicits any kind of emotion in me, I consider it amazing art. It may not be comfortable art, but art's not supposed to be comfortable.
Yes. Yes.
That's one of the things I like to create in this gallery, is the ability for somebody to say, I really like that piece. Can you put it up in this room, and I just want to be with it alone for a little while? Because you need that sometimes.
Yeah.
You need to sit down and let the world strip away from your thought process. Mm-hmm. Let the day's troubles go away, and really spend some time with a piece to get to understand it. And when you do that, you develop a sense of appreciation for some of those things. So that's one of the things I like to tell people. If you walk past a piece of art and your initial reaction is, I absolutely hate that is the most awful thing I've ever seen, you should do yourself a favor and try and figure out what it is that is causing such a visceral reaction.
Right. That's great. Yeah.
Because it tells you something about you.
Yes. Yeah.
And one of the things I'm big on is learning about me and what do I need to do in this world.
Whenever I interact with you, there's tremendous hope, tremendous drive, tremendous ambition, and genuine care for the artist. How do you personally keep that motivation, that spark alive during these hard times?
When I feel myself kind of shifting towards doubt, shifting towards fear, I use this gallery. I've got amazing pieces of art. I've got amazing music. Even if I'm out of town, I have interaction with artwork. I have conversations with artists. I pick up a phone and I talk to an artist.
Yes.
I talk to somebody and I'm like, this is what I'm thinking. What are your thoughts? And I get different perspectives. And just having a conversation with somebody really helps me.
It's a big question, but do you think that artists from the past and the present in some way find some symbiosis when there is an event like this, a way of talking to each other in some sort of, I don't want to say very melodramatic way, but it seems to me that when I walk into each of your rooms, like even this one with Ringo, it's almost like Ringo is talking to us.
Yes.
There's like and when you play some of the music, it's like there's like a languaging that goes on. Is that something that you think we will be able to recreate in here?
Definitely. And I think part of it is the environment that I've created. I try to make it a safe environment that allows you to just experience what's going on here, free from judgment, free from expectation. You're allowed to come in here and go to the room that you're comfortable in, go to the area that connects with you immediately, and then when you feel comfortable with that and found what you're looking for, I encourage you to go visit one of the other areas that didn't connect with you immediately, and just give it a little bit of time. I mean, think about some of the big hit songs that the first 3 times you heard them, you were like, I don't get that.
Right. Yeah.
Because it was different than what you're used to. Doesn't mean it was bad. It just means it wasn't what you were expecting. And sometimes that expectation is limiting. A lot of us are very good at understanding what is right now and what should be, but that what should be, we don't understand that sometimes that limits us.
Yes.
This should be, but this is possible. And here we are now. And so you have to find a way to challenge yourself.
And I think that's the key to this gallery, is that, because I've experienced that personally myself, is that when you come in here, you visit whatever room you're going to visit, but there is a safety feeling. And so when you sit in that room or walk in that room and look at the pieces, it's only a matter of time before you do start to ask deeper questions.
Yeah.
Well, why don't I like that one? Or maybe I'll go check out that other room. So I do believe that's something consciously that you have created in here.
Yeah. And one of the things I did is I put in seats, comfortable seating, comfortable, somewhat familiar spaces that start familiar, but there's elements that are not. Like panorama.
Right.
We've got, it looks like a modern, like high-rise living room. A little bit smaller, but it's got a familiar feel. But when you sit down and you start looking at some of the artwork in there, there's some artwork that really challenges familiarity.
Yes. Yeah.
I kind of created an environment, or I'm trying to create an environment that allows you to experience those things. And we just got some new lighting and some Ketra lighting with some voice control that you've experienced.
Yes, it was phenomenal.
And I'm trying to amp that up and really help somebody connect. Sometimes we get overwhelmed with too many things. So one of the things I did is I've got it so that you can ask about a specific piece of art.
Yes.
And everything else around it dims down.
Yes.
And you can really focus on that.
Yeah. And then the other thing that's really great about that is that it's almost like when you're asking the question, whatever response, whatever experience you get allows you the time to be able to really sit in that. You're not forced to just look at a piece and move on. You can sit and really take it in, you know? So I've never experienced that in another gallery, so...
Well, part of it is I'm cheating. I'm using artists from other medias, music, to really improve the experience.
Yes.
And set a tone. This is to you at home. If you come in and you're not connecting with the music or the art, please talk to me or anyone in the gallery and say, I'm not really feeling this room. Can we try some different music?
Yes.
Because you will find that the music can help you connect.
Yes.
It's kind of like a bridge to that next place that you need to be.
Yes.
It helps you, it guides you.
Yeah. And it definitely, the pieces that you choose for each piece are very apt. So you do take time to really choose the right piece, you know?
Yeah.
I wanted to thank you for, us working on this project together, the Club 27.